Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Welcome to the Biker Devotional. It doesn't look like anybody's on, and that's okay. Hopefully you'll catch this later. I'm in Michigan City, Indiana, and making the last leg of the trip home from Eureka Springs, Arkansas. God was really talking to me this morning about some things in my own life that I get to work on when I'm riding home, and I'm excited about my ride home. It's going to be good. And then this morning, he confirmed those things in my readings. And then I got into Proverbs. And Kay, thank you for your message this morning. It meant a tremendous amount to me. Thank you for that. I'm glad that God used me to speak into your life, and I'm glad He arranged information for me to have that would be confirmation for you. So really grateful for that. And I'm sorry I forgot to turn my ringer off on my phone. So I got you. Yes, Rhonda, I know that you're on as well. Thank you, hon. I see that you're here as well. You actually jumped on and said I love you just after I said nobody's here. So that was weird. But anyway, guys, I just want you to know I appreciate y'all. But as I was reading Proverbs today, a conversation that I had more than once in the last couple of months, it kept replaying in my mind, and then I got to this verse, and the Lord said you have to address it. And it's not anywhere near what's going on in my own heart. And so normally I share with you what's going on with me and what God's teaching me, and you get to grow with me. But this one clearly needs to be addressed for someone, and so I'm going to put it out here. It's Proverbs chapter 30, verse 20, and it says, "This is the way of an adulteress. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I've done nothing wrong." I have had, I don't know how many people over the last couple of months tell me that God doesn't address oral sex. He doesn't say anything about it. There's nothing mentioned about it. It's not talked about at all. Well, the Song of Solomon is replete with the sexual innuendo that talks about the relationship between a husband and a wife and how that's okay. But we know that fornication and adultery are wrong, right? And so as we look at this verse, I want you to recognize it. I want you to recognize it for what it is. There was years ago, we had a president who had an assistant, and they had oral sex. And they said they did nothing wrong because it wasn't sex. And I hear kids all the time talk about, we're not having sex. We're only doing oral, or we're only doing anal. We're not actually having sex, so we're not doing anything wrong. We're not breaking the rules. God's moral standard is His moral standard. We don't do sexual acts with anyone other than our married spouse. So Agar tells us, as a prophet from God, that oral sex, the adulterous woman, she eats and wipes her mouth and says she's done nothing wrong, is still an adulterous woman. I again, don't know why I have to talk about this today, but I know most pastors run away from these conversations. They're not public about them, especially in social media era. But the reality is, any sexual act, even mutual masturbation, is fornication or adultery. We save that and all those acts for our spouse. I've been preaching a series, and I wasn't there this week to continue the series, but I've been preaching a series at church about marriage. And I've been dealing with the single life and living as if you're married now. Because God brought Eve out of Adam, and He's going to bring your spouse out of your relationship with Him. And so, seek first the kingdom of God. That's what Jesus preached. And all these things will be added to you. You don't need to chase after sexual gratification, because when you put Him first, all these things will come to you at the appropriate time in the appropriate way. Don't be the adulterous person, eating, wiping your mouth, and saying, "I've done nothing wrong," when you know that what you've done is fornication. Sorry it was a tough one today, but sometimes they have to be. Jack, good to have you here this morning. The rest of you that catch this later, love you all of you. And I will talk to you tomorrow. God bless.